In World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, the journey to level 60 can be pretty hard for some, but is made much easier with the use of some of the many professions available in-game as you level up. While some of these professions are extremely useful in guaranteeing survival, some of them can prove to be a bit niche and generally not worth the effort compared to others. In this video, I'll rank the different professions from worst to best for leveling in WoW Classic Hardcore. For this video, I will pair each respective gathering profession with their associated crafting profession, because generally they are useless outside of gaining materials. With that being said, let's start at spot number 8. To begin, we have, in my opinion, the worst leveling professions, that being blacksmithing and mining. The problem with blacksmithing is that nothing you can learn is particularly super helpful for leveling, especially compared to other professions. While some of the gear can be decent, it is generally not worth the effort and money to obtain all the materials when you can usually find better replacements in places like dungeons. Blacksmithing has a few alright items like sharpening stones, skeleton keys, weapon chains, shield spikes, and mithril spurs, but none of them have a serious impact on hardcore leveling and ensuring safety. Another issue with blacksmithing is that it is only useful for paladins and warriors while leveling due to the crafted armor being metal and plate. Yet, paladins and warriors can make much better use out of other professions on this list that are mutually exclusive with blacksmithing. Overall, while blacksmithing is a very strong late game profession, for hardcore leveling it is very niche, and I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you are not experienced with hardcore. Next up, at the 7th spot, I've chosen leatherworking and skinning, which in my opinion is marginally better than blacksmithing and mining. Leatherworking has a few things going for it that are minor but not terrible. Armor kits can help with survivability, even if it's just a little bit, and being able to craft some bags can be helpful for solo self-found players. Also, generally, I would say that leatherworking is easier to level, and has easier armor to craft than blacksmithing, seeing as skinning materials are much easier to obtain than mining materials usually, especially on populated servers or layers. Leatherworking is also usable for quite a few classes if they pick it up, like rogues, shamans, hunters, and especially druids, who can eventually pick up the Wolf's Head Helm, which is very strong for feral druids as they close in on endgame. Basically, since leatherworking is more universal and accessible than blacksmithing, I think it just edges it out for the 7th spot. Continuing on at the 6th spot, we have enchanting, which has its obvious benefits. Enchanting can give decent stat enchants to a lot of gear, which overall is nice to have, especially the enchants for extra health or weapon damage, which can be pretty impactful. Another good thing about enchanting is that it doesn't require a gathering profession, which can be utilized to pair it with tailoring, which is quite strong, since you can disenchant all of the greens you use to level up tailoring. Lastly, enchanting can be pretty easy to level if you remember to disenchant all of your greens that you find, and can be used for good money on the auction house while leveling, since many enchanting materials are useful even at level 60. The only real issues with enchanting are its lack of observable impact and how annoying it can be to level late game, since the Master Enchanting Trainer is located in Uldaman, a quite dangerous dungeon. At 5th, we have the typical partner to enchanting, tailoring, which in my opinion has quite a few positives. First of all, it is extremely easy to get resources for tailoring, since cloth can be obtained from most humanoid mobs in the world and drops very often. Additionally, tailoring has a lot of really good gear for casters that is not that hard to make. Some examples being the Dreamweave and Shadowweave armor sets, or the Robe of Power, all of which are quite powerful for their level and don't have many alternatives that are much better. Another thing is that tailoring gives you ready access to bigger and better bags while leveling, which is helpful for both solo self-found and normal players. Overall, tailoring gives you access to some very strong gear while questing, which is actually worth going out of your way to get, unlike most blacksmithing and leatherworking recipes. Additionally, the extra bag space is always useful and can be used to gain some extra money by selling bags on the auction house. Thank you for watching this video so far, and I want to thank all my viewers for their support recently. If you enjoyed the video so far, it would help me out a lot if you decide to like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Seeing as an overwhelming majority of my viewers are not subscribed, it would really help me out if y'all hit that sub button below. Now, back to the video. Next up at 4th, and moving on to the upper half, we have cooking, accompanied by fishing. The obvious best parts about these professions is that they are secondary professions, which means they can be learned by all characters without limiting which other professions you can learn. I don't know if cooking and fishing would be this high if they weren't secondary professions, but that bonus is highly valuable. Cooking can easily be power leveled if you keep all of your fish from leveling fishing or other materials while leveling. Additionally, having food always on hand, especially many of the useful buff foods in the game, can be sometimes life-saving in hardcore. A few extra points in stamina or spirit can tip you just over the edge of surviving a fight, and if that's what is needed to save days of playtime, it's definitely worth it. Another thing is rogues can get a lot of use out of cooking, with Thistle Tea being obtainable early on and being really easy to make. Thistle Tea is extremely strong and essentially can act as another damage cooldown for rogue players. Lastly, while fishing for cooking materials, you can commonly fish up good recipes that can be sold for easy gold, or a lot of vendor trash, which can add up to help with repair or mount cost, so that's a good added bonus with these professions. Now, to start off the top 3 with what I believe are all really good professions for hardcore leveling, we have alchemy and herbalism. The great part about alchemy is that it is universally useful for all classes in the game, and there are a ton of potions that can easily save your life while leveling. Obviously, things like healing and mana potions will always be at your disposal, and are very good to have on hand while you have alchemy trained. Swiftness potions can be obtained early on, and are extremely strong for classes that don't have any good mobility tools. The limited invulnerability potion is easily one of the best in the game once you can use it, and is very good even into endgame, allowing you to survive scary instance encounters or lethal fall damage. Of course, there are also several more niche potions that can still be life-saving, like swim speed potions, free action potions, or elixirs of poison resistance. Basically, alchemy has a lot of tools that can save your life quite often, and isn't too inconvenient to level since herbalism is pretty easy to level up on your way to 60. In second place, I have chosen first aid, the best secondary profession by far, and universally useful for almost all classes. The main thing offered by first aid is access to bandages while leveling, which can be either the only resource of reliable healing other than potions for some classes, or a last-ditch effort to stay alive when classes with healing run out of mana. First aid is super easy to level compared to other professions since it only requires cloth, which is easily obtained while leveling, and most people will usually have excess at their disposal. Additionally, the quest to reach higher level first aid is very easy to do and doesn't require a lot of time. Another great thing about first aid is that higher level bandages can be used by low level characters, which can heal you to full in 1 to 2 ticks, making them extremely overpowered at lower levels. Since first aid is so accessible and reliable, it is no wonder it deserves to be this high, and in hardcore, having reliable options is one of the best ways to ensure success. And to no one's surprise, in my opinion, the best profession for leveling in WoW Classic Hardcore is most definitely engineering combined with mining. Engineering is widely considered the strongest for hardcore because of the sheer amount of utility it can provide to fill in the gaps in most classes' toolkits. Items like bombs and grenades are extremely strong for their AoE burst damage and stuns that can make large mob pools much more manageable. The target dummy is widely considered one of the strongest items in hardcore for its ability to taunt enemies off of you, giving you time to run away, which can easily save your life. Then there are various other niche equipable items like parachute cloaks, rocket boots, and various trinkets that can prove to be situationally very useful. Engineering also offers various goggles and lens helmet items, which can be very strong for cloth classes or at early levels for the extra armor and stamina. Lastly, hunters can utilize the various scopes and guns as an added bonus, even if they aren't massive game changers. In sum, engineering has a ton of very strong perks that are uniquely suited to make usually difficult scenarios in hardcore rather easy. The only real drawbacks of engineering is how annoying it can be to level sometimes, but the advantages of having so many tools is definitely worth it. And that concludes the various professions of Classic WoW ranked from worst to best for WoW Classic Hardcore. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this. If there's anything you would change, leave a comment down below. With that being said, I'm out.